I love a sunburnt country, a land of sweeping plains, of ragged mountain ranges, of droughts and flooding rains. I love her far horizons, I love her jewel sea, her beauty and her terror, the wide brown land for me. From the moment I first heard this poem entitled My Country by Dorothea McKellar, I was in love. It was Year 6 English class where I read this rich description of my country. The full poem begins by describing the pretty greenness of Dorothea's English home, before going on to gush about her absolute love for the harsh, wild, hot extremes of Australia. I loved this poem because it is very much my story. Though I was born in Australia, both my parents are of English descent, and as much as I love this country of mine, there is no denying that my claim to it is a very new claim compared to those of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders of Australia. Hello, my name is Jane Henderson, and today we will be looking at the concept of country as it relates to indigeneity and the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders of Australia. I'll be exploring various poems to illustrate this concept. Harrison and Selwood define country as what connects people, animals, plants, water, and land to each other. The concept of country cuts to the core of our course, as it is the very thing that makes Indigenous people Indigenous. It is their connection to land through their ancestors dating back tens of thousands of years that forms their indigeneity and creates a sort of ontological belonging. This rootedness forms such a strong bond that, as Morton and Robinson state, subsequent migrant settlers can neither match nor cancel out. It is a bond that is strengthened from generation to generation, passed down through sacred stories and traditions. For the Indigenous people of Australia, this can be seen clearly in the dreaming, which, according to Stanner, is a complex religious system that conveys stories of ancestor heroes, leaving their essence everywhere into the present. For Aboriginal Australians, country and spirituality are irreversibly intertwined. Indigenous people groups all around the world have a deep connection to country. This can be seen in a poem by Nola Gregory of Western Australia. It's called Mother Earth, and it says this: Mother Earth, I belong to this land. It runs through my veins. It is the earth in my bones. It is the dry, dusty plains. It is the whispering wind as she blows through the sand. It's the sparkling salt water that trickles through my hands. It's the feeling I get when I return to my place. It's deep down inside me. It's my Mother Earth space. From reading this poem, it's clear that the author has a deep connection to country, to the land that runs through her veins. There is a rich depth to it that goes beyond the love spoken of by Dorothea. It goes beyond love to almost a need for country. There is a sense that her life comes from Mother Earth. Another poem that illustrates this connection to country is Calling Me Home by Lyndon Lane. In this poem, Lyndon speaks of his experience having moved away from home to study and the yearning he has in his heart to go back home. He writes, I can feel the souls of my ancestors calling me back home, to all the familiar places and the tracks I once did roam. But I know I must stay here to get a good education, for I want to go back home after my graduation, to see the many family, friends and familiar faces I have known. I can feel the souls of my ancestors calling me back home. They're calling me back, my ancestors in Mother Earth. I want to go back home to the country of my birth. You can hear in the opening and closing lines of this poem the yearning for country, to go back to the place where he belongs. And at the heart of it, that seems to be what country is for so many Indigenous people. It is the place where they belong, where they feel home, connected to their ancestors, and at one with the land. I have always loved this land of Australia, and I miss it when I travel overseas. But the love I have seems to pale in comparison to the love that Indigenous people have for the land. They are the traditional owners and custodians of this place. Their people have treated it with care and respect for tens of thousands of years. The least we can do is the same. Thank you for your attention.